Hello, KayLee.
Hello. I tried to
How are you?
I tried to say it in a less high tone.
Just say hello.
I was like, I came across British somehow. Good day, sir.
A good day, sir.
What a weirdo.
If we
I don't
did if we did a whole episode with British accents, what do you think would happen? That'd be interesting. I don't know if I
I
could pull it
tried that
off.
once. I was in a play, probably surprisingly, in high school, and I was supposed to have a British accent, and I
Really?
made it through 3 sentences and then lost it entirely.
That's funny. So you're like Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, where it was like this awful accent.
Yeah, thank you for assuming it was awful. It was probably awful for the first 2 sentences, and then I lost it so entirely that my co-star had to say, "Oh, it looks like you must have hit your head extra hard because you sound different."
That's amazing. That's
Ru
amazing.
It ruined the whole play. So anyways, I just had a flashback to that.
Well,
Not
interestingly enough, you didn't. I told you I had like a cool, like opening idea for this podcast episode, and I didn't tell you. And you mentioned the play, and the
Oh,
opening idea I have is to start with a line written by a famous writer in 1599, and the
okay, well,
line is "All the world's a stage."
hmm,
And it's kind of like the inspiration for the episode because it's hard to imagine that in 1599 Shakespeare wrote all the world's a stage and kind of all, we are all players and performers. It's funny, I know the Rush line better than that, the Neil Peart modification, all the world's a stage and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers. That's a great line from a song, but it's playing off the Shakespeare thing that all the world's a stage. And I think LinkedIn is like the most over the top version of today's
mm,
performances in the world. But we're not here to talk about LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn just illustrates our point. I think we're talking about LinkedIn as a symptom of the underlying kind of illness of why are people performing so much and why is there so much corporate theater? Um, Starting with LinkedIn, like we have some examples that they'd be funny if they weren't. They'd be funny. They're funny, but they're sad funny and true funny. And this was too easy to produce, by the way. I didn't write any of these. I literally
okay.
asked an AI app, "What are some annoying LinkedIn posts?" And it
Okay,
immediately knew what I meant and gave me examples. And we'll just do a couple.
okay.
I almost didn't post this. Last week
Oh
I
my
failed
gosh.
publicly, painfully, and honestly, I'm grateful because failure doesn't break you. And by the way, I am not mocking like a real sense of failure builds us. Of course, failure builds us. It's the way it's written. It's so
Mm,
polished. It's so put through the filter of like sounding LinkedIn and corporate. That's what we're talking about today. It's these things that
hmm.
I'm humbled and honored. This, if I read I'm humbled and honored one more time, and look, you're laughing because it's like, by the way, we've both probably written that
Oh, well,
once or
I'm
twice.
having a moment where I recently joined a team and I go, I'm pretty sure I put I'm humbled and grateful or something to that
Yes,
effect.
yes, yes.
And so
Right.
now it's making
Because
me
the reflex
question.
is there. The reflex is there. It's like the LinkedIn reflex now, right?
Hmm.
And I wa- I have posts of my own that would make me cringe, and I wrote them, and maybe I played the algorithm game too much, and you know, it's like it just feels like a lot of performative language that I think AI has accelerated this problem because
Yeah.
it, people now look at all these popular posts and think, "Oh, let me follow this formula." So, the AI knows the formula because we just, in our prep we did this. I actually literally said, "What's the formula for like LinkedIn posts?" And it came up with like 7 formulas: the humble brag, or this or that, and they're out there. One of my favorites is like when somebody says, my 4-year-old said something yesterday that stopped me in my tracks. We were building Legos, and I kept trying to follow the directions. And he looked at the booklet, then looked at me and said, "Daddy, sometimes you have to follow your heart instead." That's not a real post, but I've read that before. I've read a post just like that where there's like profound wisdom from a 4-year-old who, by the way, can't even read yet. Um,
The 4-year-old's better than an inanimate object, Joe. If it
Yes.
if it
Yes.
my printer changed how I think about culture,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have a hard time making
Exactly.
the connection.
Right, right. Yeah, like every moment in our lives doesn't have to try to sound profound as a starting point for a LinkedIn post. And sometimes there is a profound moment and just that's cool if it's real. But boy, the amount of effort that goes into it. Again, this episode's not about LinkedIn. It's about LinkedIn is the megaphone of corporate theater, but there's the real day-to-day corporate theater. That's how we talk
Hmm.
in meetings, how we talk in email or write our email, and just this whole disguise of sounding like everyone else and corporate speak. And do you have any, examples of that come to mind? Like what's the corporate
Oh,
speak you've heard or the thing that concerns you when you hear it in a meeting?
I think there's almost too many to lay out in here. Even I think it's not only the phrasing, it's the way it's the you see it on people's faces, you see it in their body language. There's some sort of costume, there's some sort of
Yes. Yes.
mask, to use a past reference, where
Yes.
there's something happening underneath. So it's
Yes.
almost less about the exact phrasing, more about there's something else going on there. But what came out of the mouth was the least rock the boat phrasing you could think of.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very safe, um, great discussion when it was really tense and there was some unspoken tension about changes that people
Mhm.
aren't happy with. And we kind of just put a little bow on it by saying great discussion. Or when we want to truly avoid a moment in a meeting, we say, well, let's take that offline. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah,
when does offline
let's circle
happen?
back next week, Joe.
Yeah.
Let's circle back
Yeah.
next week to that and
Yeah.
see if we're
What
aligned
What
then.
actually circles back? Where did that even come from? Yeah.
I do think that there's some part of this, like, why I guess what I'm trying to why do we do it in the first place? Like, what
Mhm.
is it about
Mhm.
where is this coming from? And why would people respond in this way? Either on
Yeah.
a even on written verbal posts, to you're in a meeting, to a one-on-one
Yeah.
conversation. Why do you think people are gravitating towards these, uh, maybe safer? Is that what it is?
Yeah, safer. Well, I was going my word was threat, right? So safety is what we
Mm,
speak and threat is what we feel. And like I think and that's where I almost think the best intentions get distorted. Like on LinkedIn, the threat of, well, I did lose my job and I want to talk
mm,
about how I do feel like I am pretty feeling brave and bold and like I'm going to get through this. But I lead with, I had a surprising turn today, and I'm grateful for the new opportunity. It's like we dress it up. We put so much
mm,
dressing on it that we strip away the reality of just saying, "Hey, I lost my job today, and it's scary." And you know what? While I'm scared, I'm also excited because it sounds like it's a pivot to head me in a new direction, and that's exciting, even though it's scary. That's so much more real, like, that's how people talk when they're not scripted. I just pulled that out of thin air, and it sounded pretty reasonable and pretty authentic versus,
mm,
this kinda polished thing that feels like stanzas of poetry instead of real talk. That's at least the
mm.
LinkedIn version of it. So that's a threat of just, I don't wanna be too vulnerable, so I'm gonna mask it with all this nonsense. But the other threat is the threat of, like, I don't want to say the real thing because there's repercussions to pay at work. So I'm
True.
going to play this game of just like disguising language or not speaking up at all. So when I do speak, I'm going to use the appropriate corporate speak. And or I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and lay low.
I wonder about then, what does that mean for what could people do differently? Is it a phrase? Is it phrasing? Is there like what when we talk about the output of this, reasons
Yeah.
why, but I'm like, how do you do to I'm thinking about the post I had, the one you said first about being humbled and honored, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking, why did I write it like that? I mean,
Right.
I
Right.
am I do have humility. I am
Yes.
honored to be a part of the team. And
Yes.
yet, you're right. There's something more, there's a human version to that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could be even more authentic.
Well, it's like it's almost self-reflection around, why am I saying humbled? What's the fear of humbled? It's probably arrogance
Yes, I'm
or
afraid
bragging.
people will think I'm arrogant.
Right. So if I wanna sound like I'm not bragging or arrogant, I'm gonna literally say I'm humbled, right? So it's like maybe we're too literal with the opposite type thing. You know what I mean?
Yes. So instead of saying, "I almost didn't post this,"
Right,
I was like, you wanna
right.
go, "I definitely wanted to post this."
Yeah, oh, yeah. Like, I almost didn't post this is like, really? I
Oh
mean, you
god.
posted it, so why are you telling us you almost didn't post it, you know? And maybe, is there some real reluctance there, or just are people just being clever?
Hmm.
Um, because it goes to, like, the disguise there is, I was concerned about posting this for this reason. Like, being just disclosing something. Again, vulnerability,
Yeah,
right? So it's more vulnerable to say, "Hey, I was hesitant to post this because I thought X." But you know what? I'm going to just trust the fact that you're going to get the message here, and that you're going to see the reality here versus judge me for what you think I'm doing here. Um, but
that's fair.
the link, I think we could fix LinkedIn much more quickly than we could fix the workplace BS talk, unfortunately. Because like
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I see people trying to say the real thing more than the, formulaic thing.
Yes.
Um, but I think that's like the workplace thing, I think bred the LinkedIn thing. So we want to fix the root cause, which is the workplace thing.
The underlying part of it because
Yeah,
the, people don't make it up on their own.
that's
Like,
right. That's right. I only heard circle back. I never said it as an original thought because it doesn't actually mean anything to me. What are we circling? Is it a wagon? Is it a car? What's circling back? Is it a drain? Because sometimes I think the ideas are circling down the drain, and maybe they should
Yeah.
have been flushed a long time ago.
It's like our workplace is teaching us what to say
Yeah.
in those
They're
moments.
certainly teaching us what not to say. So then
Yeah.
sometimes we all say the same few approved lines. You know what I mean? And I think the source is the threat thing. We talked about scarf previously,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So we don't have to review the whole model to get to the essence of threat is real, and people don't like to lose status by saying the wrong thing. That they don't like the uncertainty of putting something out there that might create
Yeah.
backlash, right? The relatedness of sounding different than other people. Because
Hmm.
related, you want to blend in. We used to do this. There was this exercise that's done to show how group think works,
Okay.
and they had a. I'm going to forget the details, but it's going to make sense. There was like sort of a line that was drawn that was objectively smaller than the other lines or something, and people said this is, everyone voted for this as the longest line. And
Hmm.
because of it was intentional. There was a subgroup who knew that they were pretending to find this line longer. If I'm screwing up the facts, forgive me. It's the same point. But it was like everyone voted for the thing that was clearly, measurably, objectively incorrect. And the people who didn't know about the trick still voted with the crowd, even though they knew this freaking line was not as long as the other ones, obviously, visually in front of their face, purely objectively. So if that's not, how we talk at work in action, it's like, I'm going to say what everybody else says, even though I don't know exactly what it means, but at least I won't stand out. That's a relatedness issue of like feeling like I don't want to stand out for the wrong reasons. I'd rather be aligned and be like everyone else.
We
Because let's
don't
face it, we've seen the elimination game happen with people who say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
we don't want to be kicked out of the community.
That's right. That's right. It goes back to our tribal fears of being ostracized, right? Because that fear, those days, it meant death. It's like, hey, if you have no place to sleep and you're not hunting or gathering with people, and you have no, you're not protected from the elements or other tribes, you're screwed
Well, it means
physically.
death, Joe, in
Yeah,
an extreme
literal
way.
death. And
Mhm.
now, remember, our primitive brain hasn't changed. Our primitive brain interprets threat with the same fear and seriousness as physical threat. We treat emotional threat, we treat
Mhm.
social threat with the same fear as physical harm. So our threat meter is really old fashioned. It's binary, it's on or off.
Even with that groupthink example, I
Yeah.
someone recently showed me a video of the beep in the waiting room. Have you seen this?
No.
where everyone's in on it except for the one patient who's waiting to see the doctor or the
Yeah.
dentist, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. And every 30 seconds or so, there's a beep.
Right.
Just and every time there's a beep, everybody in the room stands up and then
Oh,
sits down.
wow.
And so and now randomly, now it's happening at random times, the beep. Everybody stands up and then they sit down. And this you're watching it from, almost like a CCTV video,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
seeing the person look, and the first beep she watches, the second beep, she sees them all stand up again, you can see her looking confused. By the third beep, Joe, by the third beep, she's
Wow.
standing up with them.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
here's where it gets really interesting, which I would love your thoughts. So she starts standing, and slowly they start calling in all the other patients who are in on it. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just her. Now
Yeah.
she's by herself
Yes.
and it beeps. Guess what she does?
Stands up
She stands up
by herself. Yeah.
by
Because now she
herself.
thinks somebody else, now it's like a responsibility or someone else is
Yes.
watching.
Yes. And then they introduce a new patient who hasn't witnessed anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Who's also in on it. But the new patient comes in, it beeps, she stands up again. And he looks at her
Wow.
kinda odd, and she sits down. And then it beeps again, and she stands up, and she goes, "I don't know, we just have to stand." And so he does.
Nobody was part of the original group and they start standing anyway. Yeah.
So the influence that the
Yes.
groupthink has on an innocent person that had no previous exposure to that, let's call it business dialogue, way of working, words we choose
Yes.
to use, what you
Yes.
say, what you don't
Yes.
say. I was so blown away by how you can have influence with a sound to determine behavior,
Yep.
let alone the influence when a leader's in a room going, all right, sounds like we got a plan. Everyone's aligned. And then they get up and leave, going,
Yes.
if you don't
Yes.
think that has influence on the whether or
That's
not
right.
people speak up.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah. You set the trigger sound and words to create. You know what? You know what's really fascinating about this? It's not just human, it's primal
Hmm.
because that experiment sounds like it's an offshoot of the monkey experiment where they put monkeys in a cage together and they had some like bananas. And when they went for the bananas, they sprayed them with a fire hose.
Oh gosh, Joe, this
And
is
they
terrible.
started holding the monkeys back so they wouldn't
What?
get the bananas and get sprayed with the fire hose, and then they would introduce new monkeys in, and they would hold those back. Then when all the original they stopped spraying them with the fire hose, and when all the original monkeys were gone, the other monkeys were still attacking new monkeys who went for the bananas because they didn't know why, but they thought they had to because that was the conditioning that they were taught. And again, if I get the exact facts wrong, it's
Yes.
around this conditioning with monkeys and bananas and how they would do exactly what the human beings did. And they don't have the, they don't have um, the same consciousness we have. They don't have the same intelligence we have. So it's a primal reaction to like group behavior. That's wild. That is
Yeah.
wild.
Isn't that
What a
crazy?
coincidence that
You
you told, because when you told that story, I'm like, that's exactly like the monkey story with the fire
I know,
hose.
but your monkey one is awful. I don't like that we're spraying them with any water. It makes
Oh,
me
I know, I
sad.
know, I know. And honestly, I'm really rough on details, so I might be wrong about all the details. It
Oh
might
my
be like
gosh.
a little shock or something, but either way, it's not fun. But yeah, it's it's not kindness, but it is an experiment that proves some weird things about the primates, right?
Yeah.
Um, our primal instincts, which is to just stay safe and, keep people from doing things out of line. So we've created this whole corporate, maybe political culture around it that, the political aspects of culture is, I'll give you an example for me. The political aspects of culture are there's unwritten and unspoken things that you just need to know. And some of it is how we speak and how we approach things and what's acceptable and what's not. So I had this interesting opportunity where I got to work as almost like a contract consultant for a company. I won't name the company because it's not a positive story, but I was there for several months and with the opportunity to maybe work there full time because they had an opening in a position that would be interesting to me. But the
Mhm.
project work was interesting, so I was, I took this opportunity. It was a bit of a risk, right? Because I kind of left something to do this, but I thought this is pretty cool. And I had a meeting with a VP, and I canceled the meeting because I thought something else was a big priority. So I did the other thing. And I got sat down by the customer who said, and it was such this like polished corporate moment. Now I was young; I didn't even understand like that's just possible. But I got talked to about how you just don't we don't cancel meetings with vice presidents because their time is so valuable, and it's not appropriate, and you can't do that. And number one, like, how would I know that? I'm here for a couple of months and like that's an unwritten rule. And number two,
Mm.
it ain't that important and it ain't that deep. Like, get over yourself. You don't
Wow.
cancel meetings with the VP. There's a priority and you can't, that's just such a hierarchical, like, no, thank you. So, needless to say, when the full time job opportunity presented itself, I was not interested because
Mm.
that culture was not my culture at all.
Wow.
Um, but those red flags, by the way, don't always present them. That's a unique opportunity where I learned about the place I didn't want to be before I got hired there.
Even as someone who's authentic and has, like, when we talk about you bring your whole self to work and you came in there with the best of intentions and you were
Yeah.
just making a decision based on efficiency
Yes.
and
Yes.
you thought it was safe to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yet now there's a consequence, there's a repercussion.
Right.
And so now you learn what the beep is there.
Yes. And it was a low stakes meeting. This was not like this wasn't like a major meeting. It was like getting his input on something that could wait because something else came up that was more pressing. Amazing.
I remember working with an exec team once, and it was about an hour before we were going into this particular meeting to discuss a strat plan and what the next
Yeah.
year was going to look like. And I, of course, had a bunch of ideas and thoughts on what we could do. And I ran the ideas by one of the other people that were going to be in the room. I go, here's some thoughts I had that I want to be able to share. Would love your feedback. And the the feedback that individual gave me was, "These are great, but don't bring up these 2 in that meeting if let's just call him Jeff, that's not his name, but
Yeah.
if Jeff's in the room, don't bring up those 2."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember in that moment being so confused going,
Yeah.
"Oh, is it because 'cause they're shitty ideas?" So that's what I said. I was
Yeah.
like, "'Cause they're shitty ideas?" And he
Yeah.
went, "No, no, they're great ideas." And I went, "Okay, well then what is the issue?" And they go, "Because those 2 have to do with his particular division, and
Mm.
unless that guy believes that it is his idea, he will shoot it down and then probably write you off because he doesn't like other people interjecting."
Yeah, is that amazing? And, like,
This
everybody
whole
knows
prep
it.
conversation before the meeting to tell me
Yeah,
not to say 2 pieces, and I just
yeah.
remember going, "This is a lot of work
Well, like,
and a
that's
lot of
the
time."
customized rule book of that workplace,
Yeah.
you know? It's like, that's rule number 3E,
Yeah.
don't step on
Do
Jeff's
not bring
toes.
up this.
Yeah, yeah,
I've also realized I'm not a very good rule follower, Joe, is the other
yeah.
problem I perhaps
Because your
have.
first instinct was like, no, I think were these ideas bad? Because if they're good ideas,
Here's
I'm gonna
here's
say
where I
them."
go. Okay, well,
Yeah.
we only have time for 2 ideas. I've got the 2 I'd like to start with. There we go.
Well,
But
you said something earlier, which, by the way, it's like, that's your authentic self, right? You said something
yeah,
about whole self, and I think this part of this discussion is about three selves. And we
okay,
don't want to confuse people here. This is very simple. It's whole self, best self, false self. And whole
okay.
self is who you are when you're alone. It's everything about you. It's the good, the bad, the ugly, the dark things, the bright things. I don't think your whole self you bring to work ever. I don't think
Hmm.
you bring your whole self to many casual relationships because you probably met somebody who brings too much to a casual relationship and like, that was weird. Why are you telling me about that? You shouldn't tell me
Yeah,
that this soon. I don't know you well enough.
yeah.
So we're not advocating for whole self, which I talk about this with a personal kind of interest because I hear people on LinkedIn particularly kind of poo poo authenticity as, no, don't bring your whole self to work. Well, I think those of us who believe in authenticity don't think whole self, we think best self. Best self is the self that you've done the work and said, wow, who am I when I'm at my best and when I'm really contributing? What do I bring, both my strengths and vulnerabilities? Because vulnerabilities teach people
Hmm.
about who you are and what you need, and your strengths teach people what you contribute and what you do well. And I think we have to try to find our best self, first of all, through how we do that, discovery in different ways, so that we're not afraid to bring that to work instead of this false self, which is like the facade, the mask, the thing
Mm.
we bring that's more acceptable but less authentic. And in your, in some cultures, it's never safe to bring the best self, only parts of it. You still have to play games or you're just not going to survive there. But at least you know, versus always choosing the safe self and the false. We can call it a safe self instead of false because it's not so much false as it's safe. It's
Yeah,
sanitized.
that's fair.
It's sanitized, It's false because it's not true, but it's false almost sounds like an indictment. You're just playing it safe, so you're not going to show the real deal. So the safe self will know the rules and
Mm.
always abide by the rules. Um, the I think the best self will challenge and push the envelope a little bit in a smart way. The best self will say, instead of saying, hey, I don't know everything, which is a blanket statement, the best self will say, well, here's where I need your help because I don't know this
Mm.
and I need you to explain it to me. That's real vulnerability versus, hey, I don't know. Hey, I don't know everything is false vulnerability. It's saying, I don't know everything. Well, nobody knows everything. That's not really specific. That's just pretending to be vulnerable. Say what you don't know and ask for help. That's real vulnerability when it comes to knowing something. So these three selves are kind of battling it out. And some people think if I can't bring my whole self because it's too much, I'm just going to bring the fake self or the false self and play the game.
How do you think people learn that?
Mm,
Because I didn't know, like, as we're talking about it, I go like,
yeah.
intellectually, I'm going, "Yes, okay, I do, I understand the concept." But how do you think we've learned that is it a maturity thing? I'm saying that with all due respect to everybody. Is it is there something in there where we go, "Look, this is because I've lived it, I've experienced it." You have enough maturity to know how much truth you can bring to what situation, you feel confident to do that?
Mm. I don't know. That's a good one because I think that's part of it.
Either.
Because, I mean, the more positive experiences you have with it, though, the more you might bring it early. So maybe it's not
See.
maturity, but
Okay, okay.
maybe over time you get so fed up with it that you bring it anyway. So that is maturity, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
where
don't think I could do a job interview today
yeah.
with the interviews I had in the past. If I had some of those today, I would laugh at some of the questions and I'd walk out at some of the questions. Back then, I was
That's
just, please
interesting.
give me the job. I need the job.
Yes.
Today, I'd be much more confidently like, that's ridiculous. And why are we talking about that? Like,
I know.
I would be blunt. I would have much less of a filter that I had in the past. And, part of it is just the confidence of like not giving a shit what people think because I know that that's
Mm.
ridiculous and no one should care about that, you
But
know?
that is something you've learned, right?
Yes, I've learned it. I've learned it the hard way though, because I've suffered through the other version of the false self, wearing the mask for too long and biting my tongue and not saying the thing
Mm.
and saying, and the regret of not doing that, right? Because
Mhm.
all the years of not saying the thing, now I have this like pent up frustration with it. So I might be more blunt than I need to be sometimes
Okay.
because it's like I'm still learning how to be appropriately assertive and authentic in those ways because I
Yeah.
didn't have enough experience with it in the past when I was younger and fearful and worried about the threat of losing my job for saying the wrong thing.
So the best self is not the edited self, it's the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
by chosen, it probably is edited in the right ways because it's edited with um, it's intentionally choosing things you want to disclose versus
Mm.
reluctantly hiding things you're afraid to disclose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it reminds me of the interview that you're talking about. Even recently going through some of that process, somebody
Yeah,
asked me about it was about style and approach.
yeah,
And the me today, I want at least I want to think it's my best self, answered it very differently than I would have 15 years ago.
yeah.
And specifically saying if you want someone who is going to keep status quo, if you want someone who's going to be an order taker and say, "Yes, I will do that," and keep
Yeah.
things afloat,
Mhm.
that is fantastic. If that's what you are looking for, that is not me.
Right.
I highly recommend you look at different options if
Yeah.
that is what ultimately you're looking for. And that to be able to say that in that way authentically and confidently, I don't know what else that says about me, but I believed it firmly, Joe, because I went, it's not a win for you or this organization if that's what you're looking for,
Yeah.
because I'm not good at status quo. So
Right. Right.
I don't know.
But,
But
and it's interesting how and it's interesting how our fear, um, has us sort of withhold that important information that's good for both parties.
hmm,
Like, it's better for me to know myself and say it than it is to pretend I'm what you are looking for, right? Because I've had job interviews where I just I went along with what they were saying when I'm like, "Yeah, probably wouldn't do it that way," or "I'm not excited about that, but I
hmm,
want the job."
mhm,
Versus if you have the luxury of going into a job interview when you already have a job, you'll be so much happier because you can go in there with 2 eyes open and just immediately say, "No, I'm not interested in that."
hmm,
And be careful if you do take the job for a few more dollars and those dollars aren't like meaningful enough. Because I get it. Sometimes a few more dollars is a big deal, even if it's a few more. And you're like, no, it was worth it, even though I'm less happy. I've seen
hmm,
someone jump from one job where they loved it to another job where they ended up being miserable over time. And while the money difference was nice, I bet if you asked them today, would they have changed jobs? They would have stayed at the old
hmm,
job because the money wasn't worth the stress, the anxiety, and the end game for them where it didn't end well several
hmm,
years later. So I know this is an interesting episode. Let's
hmm.
be vulnerable with our listeners, whatever, our audience, watchers.
Yeah.
We're kind of moving around here freely because this is a
Sorry,
loose
yeah.
this is a looser episode, and we hope you're okay with that because we're okay with that. This one
Well,
doesn't have as tight a structure as all of our episodes because it's like holding a little bit of holding the Jello before it's set. You know what I mean? It's a little messier.
are people still eating
Um,
Jello? I don't even know that's a I love the analogy. It made me think I haven't ate Jello in a very long time.
I haven't either.
And
I haven't either.
okay,
I used to
okay.
like orange Jello. Orange Jello was my go-to
Really?
flavor. Yeah. 'Cause I'm a
Okay, that
creamsicle guy, the orange and vanilla
okay.
creamsicle. Yeah.
Okay, see, this is good stuff, Joe. This is what the listeners want anyways, or at least my mom finds it the most interesting. Can I share? Maybe this is relevant. Let's test my ability
Go,
to
go,
spin
go.
things back to relevant content.
Yeah,
Talk about being humble
yeah,
and bringing your real self. I have learned this from this woman who raised me. I swear. I said to her the other day that I was really excited because I had this opportunity to go and speak to this group of executives about leadership, whatever it was. And mom, she's on the phone with me and she goes, "Why are they paying you to do that?" She just immediate just blatant,
yeah,
why would they pay you to do
yeah,
that? And I go,
yeah,
"Well, mom, because I have value in this way." And I started, you get defensive, you start to go,
yeah.
she goes, "Well," she's like, "seems pretty straightforward. I don't know why they can't just figure that out. Doesn't seem like it would take that much effort. It seems
Oh
pretty
my god.
straightforward how to treat people." And I had this great conversation with her and I thought, that is one of the most honest
Yeah,
feedback, blatant
yeah,
conversations that I had had in that phone call with my own mother than I
right,
had the whole week of one-on-ones leading up to that.
right,
She just
right.
went, "Oh, what's the big deal? Why don't they figure it out? And I'm surprised they're paying you to do it." And I thought, "Okay, fair enough."
Yeah. I mean,
Fair
at
enough.
least you got the real thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, the it was the no filter part. I think that
Yeah,
the
exactly.
people that I think about, to bring this back to this, that have the real influence are the ones who are not polished.
Yeah,
When I think about even our conversations, we knew this right away. It's like they're not perfectly polished. We don't always say the exact right thing. It's the
that's right.
people that you really learn from and have respect with are the ones that are, a little rough around the edges at times, but they're saying At least for me, because 'cause they're saying what's real in the
Mhm.
moment. Gosh, I respect that.
You reminded me of a story where I had a person on my team, really great guy. He's
Yeah.
a little younger than me, but and a little, you know, he was younger than me, and maybe um, he found my approach harsh because he didn't really see it from all angles, and that was okay.
Mm.
There was an employee we had in this company, and everybody knew these roles because we all had done those roles. So we knew this
Okay.
person was really not good at the job.
Okay.
And I was just blunt about it. I'm like, yeah, we need to fire him. And he's like, wow, you're so harsh. That's
Hmm.
cold. And I'm like, he said, do you think he's good at the job? He goes, no, no, he's terrible. I said, okay, so we should fire him for that, right? Yeah, probably. Like, you think we could train him and get him there? Nah, probably not. Because I don't think he's interested. I'm like, right, he's probably not interested. And by the way, how do you think he feels every day doing this job? Oh, he must hate it. I'm like, yeah. So why are we keeping him here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like when I finally broke it down from all the angles, it's like we got a guy who's not good at the job, probably isn't a training issue, it's a motivation issue and an interest. And three, he's probably miserable doing a job he hates, but it's harsh to say we should get rid of him. But yeah, yes, you got to do it humanely and kindly. You don't just say, "Hey, get the hell out of here." But he looked at the action alone without thinking of the context of, wow, that
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense. And it's the right thing for him. Because my point of view was like, wouldn't it be better for this guy to find what he really enjoys and cares about than struggle here for another year and figure it out and
Yeah.
quit on his own? This was like more of an entry level job. I wasn't saying let's take a
Hmm.
guy out who's got 20 years in the business. This person's
Yeah.
been doing this job for 6 months. So it was more of an entry level role. It was, he probably didn't have any passion for it, and it
Hmm.
just made sense. But his first reaction was, "Oh, you're kind of like you're a cold son of a bitch," kind of thing. And I'm like,
Wow.
maybe I said it bluntly, but I really am thinking about his best interest too. I'm not being, I'm not. I don't dislike the guy. You know?
Hmm. Do you have a a tip, tactic, or tool to share? 'Cause I'm just realizing we went off on tangents,
Yeah, yeah.
which
I
I
mean,
kinda love.
one
Any
tip is,
what could be
you know,
helpful?
I think one tip is, um, try to say the thing that you really mean most
Hmm.
directly if you can. So
Okay. Yeah.
avoid the layers of BS and just say the thing, you know? Say I'm scared if you can. Especially like if it's a LinkedIn thing, say, "Hey, bad news. Not excited about it, but I think I could figure it out and I need some help here." I think people will be refreshed to see a real post on LinkedIn instead of some AI processed cut and
Hmm.
paste, sort of nonsense. So say the thing if you can.
And say it using your best self. Is that the
Yes,
phrase?
what would your best self
Okay.
say here
Okay.
versus what are you trying to avoid saying? So if you could strip one layer of the bullshit off and say the real thing, one level higher, I think you'll feel better and we'll
So,
all be better for it.
as an example, then, something such as burnout.
Yeah,
If I just to help our listeners and myself with the thinking around this. If
yeah.
it's burnout, then the false self, the one
Mhm.
playing it safe, might just say, "Gosh, it's been a really full season here."
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah. Right.
something like that, where
Yeah.
the whole self would be going, "I am depleted,
Yeah.
afraid,
Yeah.
and I think that it makes me look weak," or something
Yeah. Yeah.
like that. Whereas the
It's
best self is saying, "I'm at capacity, and I need to make a different choice on priorities."
right.
Is that
It's it's even a little stronger than that, right?
okay?
Because even at capacity feels like corporate talk, right?
Oh, is it? Okay.
A
Well,
little
that's my
bit.
own
Like,
words seeping
you can
in.
start
Yeah.
with that. Look, we could start with, "Hey, I'm at capacity, and I don't know if I could take much more. I don't know if I could do much more. I really wanna be careful here because there's a lot going on, and I don't wanna overstress, I think I'm at that point of maybe too much."
Mhm.
Um, when when you said the sort of burnout version, the burnout version is if you've ever seen the movie Christmas Vacation and
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, when he finally loses it and he cuts off the newel post on their staircase. And he has this, and then later on, he has this whole rant, and he's like, holy crap, whatever, whatever, pass the Tylenol. Like, where's the Tylenol? That, I don't want to say the rant because there's too many curses, but he goes on this cursing rant and says,
Yes. Oh, I know.
holy shit, where's the Tylenol? Like, that's maybe the whole self that you don't say to the whole organization, but there's
Mm,
an elevated version of that that's more authentically like, I don't know, this is too much right now, you know? And
okay.
again, use your best judgment because not every organization wants to hear that.
Okay, then my second one, I'm just gonna build off of that, is
Yeah.
replacing the polished statement with a plain one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and this is I'm personally, I wanna be more aware of this because like I said, obviously the corporate speak is in my
Yeah.
dialogue with what I do for a living, but instead of saying then, "We're aligned," maybe it's more like what I actually think in that situation, which could be like, "Look, I think we have an agreement here, but I have a feeling some other people might be seeing things differently. So
Yeah.
I actually just
Yeah.
wanna check in."
Yeah. That's good.
Just taking it
Exactly.
one layer, deeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Mhm.
I like it.
It's good. I like that I'm asking you if my tip was good enough. I'm like, "Does that
I
make
know.
sense?"
I know.
What's the
Like,
third one?
your tips are always great. So,
I don't know. Oh
I
my gosh.
appreciate the fact you're including me in that.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
mean, I'm actually humbled and honored that you would ask for my opinion on
Stop.
one of your tips. Um,
It was all the team. It was the team that brought us here, and I'm choosing gratitude in this
I'm
moment
choosing
with you.
gratitude. It's so funny because, like, just saying I'm grateful is simple enough.
Yeah. Well, now
I'm
I don't even
choosing
know
gra-
what to say that. I should go,
I'm choosing gratitude. That's nice. I'm choosing shut your mouth.
That's the extreme version. Oh gosh.
uh,
Okay, well I wrote down a final thought. I didn't
yeah,
know where the middle was going to take us, but here was my final thought
yeah,
on
yeah,
all
yeah.
this conversation. It was that authenticity isn't about saying everything. It's about saying the right thing truthfully.
Ooh, I like that.
That's my
Yeah,
closing. I
you
was like,
should
I'm gonna
drop the
nail the
mic.
closing. I thought
Drop the
about
mic
this.
on that one. And, I, I have no notes. Let's wrap this up.
Yes. Okay. I'll
That was
take it in.
beautiful. Well done.
I'm humbled by your feedback. I am excited to talk to you in
I'm
a
excited to talk
fortnight.
to you. I'm always grateful for you. Plain English. You're awesome.
What's the post that we attached to this video is gonna have what on it? To just F you with the asterisk just to see if it
Exactly.
doesn't just something random and
Exactly.
inappropriate? I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, our working title is something like humbled, honored, and completely full of it.
Okay, that works.
You know what
That
I mean?
works.
That's like a working title. Humbled,
Okay.
honored, and completely full of it.
Yeah.
But
Let's
we can
see how
always
that
say
plays.
completely full of shit and just put the asterisk in there in the title.
You better leave it. I don't wanna be
I know
offensive to
exactly,
anybody.
exactly.
Oh my gosh.
We don't want to be banned on LinkedIn for making fun of LinkedIn.
That'll be it. Then it'll just be you and I talking with nobody listening to
I
us. Well,
know, I know.
I could call mom and put her on speaker, and so we could keep if all else fails, we'll put
We'll
mom
get
a
the
little on
unfiltered
speaker.
mom.
Yeah. Someone can listen to us talk.
Good stuff.
Alright.
Always,
Appreciate you,
always fun with you.
genuinely.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Take care. Bye bye.